So guys, let's talk about this, the Blue Arrow 11. So it got completely changed. It was actually using an AGM 179 placeholder model, and now it has its proper model. So let's take a look on the differences that it has and how it is actually performance, the new Chinese missile coming for the Z10ME. One thing, still the same, you can only take them on the outer pylons of the Z10, okay? So you still have to use the CM502, which is honestly great because then you can use a longer range missile, a shorter range missile, faster, slower. You know, you have two different missiles that are pretty interesting here. So on the stat card itself, we can have some conclusions already. It doesn't have any IOG anymore, just IR guidance, so it will not guide itself if it loses the target. It will not be able to be fired from a very long distance unless he has the lock. Okay, so let's see how the lock is going to be. But yeah, it is still a tandem hit, of course, 1,400 millimeters of penetration. So it is going to penetrate everything, right? 310 meters per second of a maximum speed. So it's very similar to the AGM. Because if you take a look, I mean, it is a very similar missile. I mean, look at this. It's a little bit faster, maybe. It has the IOG, but it has less penetration. So it is a pretty similar missile to the AGM-179, okay? But first, before we actually fire this thing, I wanted to show to you guys one thing. I wanted to actually come here to Kopani's and, of course, Zabi's, but Kopani's guided weapon data. Basically, he brings every single thing on the weapons data department to this, spreadsheet over here. If we go to the AGMs over here, let me actually find, where is it? IR. You will see that the Blue Arrow 11 is here, right? So we can actually take a look and compare to the AGM 179 that it's on the side and the CM502. So first of all, you can see that the mass of the missile they are heavier missiles than the CM502, and this 502 still has more range, which is pretty insane, but obviously a lot slower, right? As you can see, the mass after the burn is very similar. So you can see that the missile itself, the dynamics of inertia here of the missile will be very similar to the 179, very similar. After the sustainer, it's a little bit lighter, which is also a good thing. And it's a shorter missile, as you see. So, and a smaller missile overall, right? For the booster itself, it produces a lot more thrust than the CM, than the AGM-179, but a little bit less than the LMUR. Remember, the LMUR is a much heavier missile as well. On Delta V, on the burn itself, of course, this is not taking into account the actual, the actual range, because it doesn't take into account the drag, right? But still, it is a good way to know what missile generally will have a little bit more energy at the end of the burn, on the very least, right? So you can see that the Blue Arrow has a little bit more, 1/4 more than the 179 and twice as much as the CM. So yeah, the CM produces more range in a very different way, so it makes sense. So it's a very good booster, very strong initially, and then, look at this, 1.5 seconds burn time, and then, much stronger sustainer with a longer burn time as well than the AGM. But the initial burn is less time, but with more power. So it's very similar to the AGM 179, but it will have more energy, okay, than 179, which is very good. TNT equivalent, Blue Arrow wins again. A lot more TNT equivalent means a lot more punch. 1,400 millimeters of penetration. So it will be, I think, the best missile in that regard. I don't think there's any other missile that can do that much. 1,400 penetration, man, it's crazy. So yes, it will probably be the best penetrating missile in the game. The problem, IR guidance in the files, of course. So it doesn't have any type of delay of guidance or anything, because it just guides itself directly, after the launch, after the lock, right? So yeah. Of course, it does have a guidance duration of only 60 seconds, so it is pretty short. So that's why I think this thing will not have too much difference, too much time to actually, too much range, right? But it does have a lot of energy, so we're going to test that. But yeah, and then let me see if there's anything else over here. We do have an FOV IRCCM, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, IR guidance, so it makes sense, right? But yeah, we have an IRCCM on this thing. What does that mean? Well, it means basically that you could technically fire this missile onto an aircraft and it will not go for flares, basically, because it is IR guided after all, right? So it's kind of crazy that the Blue Arrow 11, sorry, has an IRCCM, and it's a pretty amazing one. I mean, look at this. IRCCM field of view, 0.05 degrees. It's one of the most insane IRCCMs in the game. If not the best, it is very close to that. Drag coefficient, of course, this is a smaller missile, but the drag coefficient is higher. So it means that maybe we will see a higher or the same drag here. The drag coefficient itself doesn't tell that you have more drag, but in a general sense, it is a smaller missile, so it's hard to say. You would need to do the calculation of the drag itself, depending on speed and stuff. But in a general perspective, probably very similar to the 179 on drag, but with better thrust. So very good. Multiplier, I mean, you can see that it's a smaller one. It's a smaller missile in general, so it makes sense, right? But max speed on stat card, it's useless because the missile itself will have its own dynamics, but around the same, Mach 1 more or less, right? Maximum G load, a little bit less than the AGM. So if the target is moving too much, yeah, you need to kind of point to the target. And then it has a loft angle that it's way less than the AGM as well. So we will loft less. We will have a different guidance system, so it's a much different missile. Okay, so let's properly test this thing. So here we have it, guys. Let's turn around. We are at 15 kilometers more or less. If I can actually do this shot, it will already be pretty good. Okay, so let me change to the BA-11, the Blue Arrow, right? Let's try to shoot in one of these. It has a pretty good zone, as you see. They are looking at me, so yeah. Yeah, it's not locking, see? So that's going to be maybe the problem with this missile, is that it does not have the range of some others, because obviously you do not have an inertial guidance system. So, for example, for something like the AGM-179 or CM-502 or the LMUR, right, you can fire the missile without having a proper lock onto the target because of the INS, right, and GPS guidance that some of these have. But this doesn't have that, so it needs the lock to be able to be fired. So once the square is like that it cannot get a proper lock, it will not be able to be fired. So let's see the distance that we can get a lock on this. If it's like 10 kilometers, I think it will be okay. Let's see. 13, right? I think it's gonna be like a shorter range missile that is impossible to avoid if you are firing on a helicopter. And because of the IRCCM. And it has like the best penetrating like thing ever. Like 1,400 millimeters. Jesus Christ, man. It's it's better than any armor that we have in the game, I think. Come on, baby. 11 kilometers. You need to start locking very quickly, because if not, this is going to be just a hellfire with a lot of penetration. I don't know. Maybe from the side it will be able to be locked in a bit of a longer range. But yeah, see, I mean, we're not able to lock, man. Let's see. No. So from the front, guys, as you can see, it's gonna be like a hellfire, I think. Come on. Come on! He needs to lock. It's not lucky. Lock waiting. This is very bad, actually. Oh, there you go. Like 7 kilometers. So this is kind of bad. So you need to be very close to the target. Let's see from the side if you can actually lock from a far distance. But as you can see, it's a pretty fast missile. Yeah, very fast. Much faster than it was before in acceleration, for sure. And that is a T-72B, so it should be that. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, look look where he hit it. He hit it in the best possible armor place of the T-72, and it just doesn't care. So, yeah, I think this is going to be like a low-range missile. 7 kilometers more or less, but with so much penetration that he will not care about anything. He will just penetrate every single tank. It doesn't matter where he shoots or anything. So let's go to a little bit to the side over here to see if we can actually lock from a further distance, because the image of the target will be larger, right? So if it is not able to do at least 8 kilometers, it is going to be underwhelming on the range. So you're gonna you need to be careful with these things because of the new AAs, right? But at the same time, it is a fire and forget missile, so if you get a lock and you are able to just shoot, you know, you're kind of fine, right? So it's kind of okay, I guess. So a little bit to the side still. So yeah, let me just get to the position here. And as you can see, guys, from the side as well, it doesn't get a lock. Oh, it does, but it depends, right? This is a very large image. I don't know. It's very weird. Sometimes you get a lock. Like, look at this. It's getting the lock there, but... From... Oh, okay, okay. So, we're getting the lock. Okay, we're getting the lock. Okay, so... 10 kilometers more or less, as you can see. That was a previous missile that I was testing. I was testing with the CM. So, yeah, look at that. 9 point something, 10 kilometers. So that is good. That is good, actually. So you are able to actually get a proper kill or a proper lock from further away if the target is from the side. So the larger the target, of course, it will mean that the target can be locked. Yeah, see? And it penetrates everything, right? That is great. Yeah, see? Look at that. That is great, man. I think the last one is right there, right? Oh, no. Still going to that target. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes he doesn't kill because he hits the breach or something. But yeah, you can get a longer range from the sides, which is great to hear because 7 kilometers from the front is very low. So, for example, let's just check it out. So the missile is pretty great. It's just that it has this limitation of having an INS guidance, but okay, doesn't matter. But yeah, let's see like a 2A7 over here, a normal 2A7. Let's go to China. Let's see what this missile can actually do. Oh, it's helicopter, actually. Z10ME and the good old Blue Arrow 11. So, yeah, let's see. So, for example, it would hit normally the target right here somewhere, right? And as you can see, it can penetrate very well and kill the tank with one shot if you are a little bit lucky. So, in that case, I don't think he killed. Let's see. No, there's one crew member escaping. So that's a problem that you cannot aim these things properly, right? But it will basically destroy everything. And it will kill the tank a lot of the times with one shot if he goes to the center of mass. I mean, look at this, boys. Look at this. I mean, this is an insane missile, man. It penetrates literally every... Look at... This is a 2A7, man. This is the first chemical round that can penetrate this. I mean, this is crazy of how good this penetrator is. It really is. Like, I mean, 1,400 millimeters of penetration. Who has like more protection than that? I don't think there is no other thing in the game that can penetrate this. I think this is the oh, let me see. Blue arrow. Yeah, look at this. Penetration not possible in some of these places, but... Oh, that was a weird bug. That was weird. Let's see. Because it has stunning... Oh, sometimes... So, some of the tanks it still can be... I mean, it will never hit a target like that. It will hit like this, and it will kill the tank. But you get the point, right? So, this is going to be a pretty interesting missile, man. And from the side, I mean... Poor old ERAs, man. There is no ERA in the world that can stop this thing at 1,400 millimeters of penetration. And it will kill in one shot. Even if it shoots like from the front here, because sometimes the side shots are doing this, it will still kill the tank because it kills 2 crew members. So yeah, this is the Blue Arrow, guys. Yeah, it has a worse seeker, I would say. Kinda. Like a kind of a worse seeker than some of the other missiles that you see. Especially the CM502 and some others, you know, it has a little bit less of a guidance and stuff with the Seeker. But everything else, I mean, it is very fast, probably harder to intercept than the CM. And it has 1,400 millimeters of penetration, man, which is crazy. So yeah, this is going to be a scary missile. This is going to be a scary missile, guys. So this is the Blue Arrow 11, the new strongest missile of helicopters in the game. Maybe, I don't know. You tell me in the comments. But yeah, this is it. This is the BA-11, okay? See you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye, guys.